Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's session. I'm Jack, Head of Customer Experience here at Spotler UK, and I'm joined with me on this session by Mark, our Group Product Manager. I'm here to show you something very exciting, Spotler Analytics. It's an AI-powered reporting tool that's designed for you to take your marketing results to the next level. There will be polls throughout the webinar today, so please make sure to get involved, and we would love to hear from you in the chat. Anything that's relevant, anything that you can give, we'll make sure to reference that throughout. So before we get started though, some of you might not be familiar with who Spotler are. Spotler is Europe's leading MarTech company, and we operate over the Netherlands, Germany, and the UK. We have a whole host of products, from customer data platforms to mail platforms, event platforms, CRM platforms, you name it, we've probably got it. Our analytics tool is designed to work with these. So if you're not currently using a Spotler platform, please keep that in mind, and obviously let us know when you want to get in touch. So dialing it back a little bit, what is the one question you would love to ask your marketing data? If you could drop your answer in the chat here, that would be great. When we think about what questions we would ask, a lot of it boils down to performance metrics. It could be, what's my best open rate in a campaign? But also, why was that my best open rate for my campaign? It could be, what's my best click-through rate? It could be, could you compare my monthly click-through rates from one to another? But realistically, what we really care about is the true performance of our campaigns. And that would be the revenue reporting. So it could be, what campaign drove the highest average order value? What campaign got the most purchases? These are all really key questions, but they are actually sometimes quite difficult to answer. So when it comes to answering those questions, how do you currently handle that? Is it Excel sheets? So you're having to take data from one platform, combine it with data from another platform? Does the current tool that you've got its own attribution models that you can look at, or does it have its own stats that you feel that you can rely on? Are you balling and have a data scientist on tap with a BI tool in order to be able to create your business something fantastic with your own custom rules? Or are you just joining this because you're still figuring it out? Cast your vote in the chat now and we can go from there. Oh, fantastic. Right, we've got some good results here coming from the chat. A lot of you still relying on Excel sheets. Don't worry, we've all been there. A lot of people here saying the tools, the tool dashboards that they're using currently. Now, that's great as well, but a lot of the time, and even with things like Google Analytics, the way that those are structured naturally is to over attribute success to biased channels. So for example, have you ever wondered why Google Ads always makes you the most money in Google Analytics? Or if in your mail platform it says that you happen to have made 4 times the amount of revenue than your website compared to your Google Analytics. So making sure you've got the ability to change those and interact with them and find something that really works for you is a big challenge that marketers still face. So here's the issue. If you're curious, but you're tired of waiting, how would you like to actually get that data? A lot of the time, even tools inside platforms, so specifically ESPs, can be quite clunky. They can be missing data. And if you're having to combine that with, say, your GA data, or you've got a BI scientist or something or similar waiting in the wings ready to deliver you the report of your dreams, this can all take a long time. What happens if you could just ask it? So you could write a question, what campaign delivered me the most value in the last 30 days? Compare that to the same campaign from last month. What was my best click-through rate? What drove my highest average order value? These are the questions that you're going to be able to answer with our AI analytics. And I've got my esteemed colleague Mark here, who's going to take you through that right now.
Thanks, Jack. Morning, everyone. So I'll show you a couple of tabs on our main live board here. What we've tried to do with our default live boards is give you all the answers that we think you'll need as marketers in one place. So for your email statistics and engagement, we'd expect to see all the stuff that you use daily: open rates, click rates, bounces, even key metrics like new daily subscribers. So actually seeing any trends in how your database is growing, all in one place. Now, what's really useful about this live board is the filters that you can apply to it. So again, we tried to do as best we can in terms of giving you the things we think will be useful. I can go in here and change this to any sort of time frame I want. To Jack's point about attribution, this is really powerful because again, we've set the default to 7 because that helps to mirror things like Google Analytics, GA4, but I can go in here and change this to anything I want. If I just want a 1-day attribution window for genuine last click activity, or I want to up it to say 28 days as the max, or email influence, it's completely up to me, and I can change that data on the fly, save it to my live board and move forward with my analysis. So when I actually look at the key data points here, there are some obvious trends. So we can see here, if I was looking at this as a marketer, I'd probably be a bit concerned about the drop in clicks, but actually it makes sense because we can see our send volumes dropped massively. We were sending 4K last week, now we're sending even less than that. So that's not too concerning to me. So I'll skip past that. Now, what I'm going to be interested in from here is looking into things like purchase data, which we'll come on to in a second. But if we actually just want a really quick snapshot of what's going on our data, we can just run an AI highlights. So all these metrics are now being combined into one single report. And like any great demo, this will take a minute. There we go. So now in my AI highlights, I've actually got a really quick snapshot that I can share with a team, presenting a board report, or just pop up during a presentation on a weekly stand-up and actually show people what's going on and why. So we can see our email sent dropped by 50%, 54. Email opens is had similar. Our clicks are similar. Our bounce rate's gone up. So we're not having a great week. We need to do something about it. So at this point, I'm going to use this data to actually inform my decision on what I do next. I can export that AI highlights as well and just share it with the team. But what I'm most interested in personally is going into purchases. So if we go into our revenue data, we can see those trends are actually the opposite. So we're getting better average order value. Our purchase to open rate's increasing. So we've sent less, but we're making not quite the same, but we're making more in terms of average conversions. So that would really support the idea that what we're doing is the right thing because we're sending more targeted emails to people on a daily basis. So for purchase revenue, purchase conversions, what I want to do is start to dig into it a bit more. This is where, as Jack says, Spotter comes in. I can run filters, I can change things, schedule dashboards, etc., as I see fit. But what I'm going to do is start to ask some questions just in natural language. So we've got our purchase value here. Let's include average order value and see how that's stacking up. You can pretty much type anything you want in here. It will try and translate your query. So if it's a bit ambiguous, it will make a best guess on what it thinks it should be. And also it works in multiple languages. So it's not just UK support. This will work in English, Dutch, German, French, Spanish, pretty much any language you can think of. So now for that time frame of the month, we've got our AOV split by day. Now I'm going to change that into a table because I probably agree with a lot of people who are doing it in Excel, still an Excel geek at heart. So when I go into my AOV, I can actually see that if we were to look, say, at the 26th of September, AOV was 225 that day, whereas other days we're spiking up to 270, even 280. So I'm going to be most interested in saying which campaigns have the biggest impact on my AOV. So we can use operators here. We can use things like, say, show me my top 5 or show me my worst 5 if you want to really drill into the ones that are performing the worst. But I'm just going to leave that really ambiguous. So you can see here, this is pulling in everything because that's what I asked it to do. So let's make this more granular. So which were top 5? So now I use that same query, AOV, with the biggest impact this month. And now it should pull in for me the 5 campaigns that had the biggest impact on it and sort sending. So we can see the ones that are way over our average order value as a whole: birthday surprise, first purchase incentive. And it makes sense because birthday surprise tends to include an offer code. People might be annual purchases, just come back once. First purchase incentive, great. Post purchase, even better, because we're getting people to make a second. And then, like everyone, we're starting our Black Friday activity far too early, in my humble opinion, but we are spamming emails out the door left and right for that. We've also got our VIP customer journey there as well. So let's say I want to know, how are they comparing to last year at the same time? This is one of those queries that when I'm running it in Excel or in GA, it becomes a bit of a data analysis session, because I need to go in and run pivots. I need to compare the data quite intelligently. And in here, this is now just going to break this data down for me. Exclude nulls. And it will now show me that data versus last year. Or even if I just want to know last month, for example, which I think I'm going to do, as that null did not fill me with confidence when I hit enter a moment ago. So let's compare to instead. And again, this is going to save all these queries in session, so I don't need to go back and start again. It'll just pick up where it left off. Kind of like ChatGPT in that case, but like Jack will say in a minute, with a lot of differences in terms of no hallucinations and no fake data. So here we go. We've now got our AOV for last month, 2 months ago as well. So we can see we've had a massive drop off there over a 2-month period, over £25. So this is where I'm going to start to drill into that data, use those AI highlights to see the biggest affected. And I can even save this analysis, pin it. Let's say I want to just add that onto my monthly performance report and include it for everyone to see, and I can share that with the team. So again, this is really helping me to drill into the data, find the outliers, the best campaigns, the worst campaigns. And what I will do from there is automate most of my key metrics. So if I go back to, say, we were looking at our daily bounce rate a second ago, we can see there we've had a big spike there. We've gone from 0.2% up to over 1 in the last day. That to me is a red flag. So I'm going to set an alert for that. And if my KPI crosses a certain limit, let's say it's greater than 1.5, I want to know about it. So my bounce has spiked. Please check. Now I can include anyone on the team here. So I can let Georgia, Niels, etc. know about this alert. I'm just going to fire it through to myself. So now if that happens at any point on any campaign or overall, that's going to let me know via email that I need to look into it. So again, I don't need to come back to this live board all the time. It's just going to do the work for me. Exactly the same. You can see that bell icon is on all these data points. I can do it for purchases, engagement, new subscribers, or we're not actually picking up any data. So that's a really powerful one, because if, say, my site tags fall off or my data feed stop working, I can know about it straight away from knowing if my subscribers have fallen off to 0 from what they used to be. So all the usual stuff you'd expect here. Download this to PDF. I can make a copy and use it as my own and start to make some more changes to it. I can present like we're doing now, but much like a PowerPoint presentation, and I can sync that data through to things like Slack or Teams as well. So really, really powerful. I'm just going to finish off with one last thing and just run a quick Spot IQ analyze. So from here, if we go back to our purchases, we can see through the analysis we've done that our key metrics are dipping, but our revenue is pretty stable. I want to know how that's going to actually stack up for the rest of the month. So if I get Spot IQ out, we now use a bit of a mystic ball and run a forecast. So I'm going to forecast the next 10 data points. I want to run this through to month end and see how we're performing in terms of revenue. Spot IQ is really intelligent here, because it's going to know what it thinks I should be selecting in terms of the KPIs. I can change these and use any ones I want, but I'm just going to leave it exactly as it's suggested. So from here, we're now running a forecast until month end for revenue. So bear with while this runs through. And I can do the same thing for 4 key metrics. So I can use it for outliers. I can use it for cross correlation as well. So there are any external factors that are affecting it. Is not just a set of change in volume, but there are external factors. Have I changed my subject lines? Have I made a change to the links in my emails, for example, and is something not performing as well? So in here, I'm now going to look at my expired. That's very good. Bear with me 1 second. So if I go into answers, sorry, can use any of those ways into this, exactly like we saw a minute ago. So if I just use the one I ran a minute ago, it should now pull in exactly what we've done, which was purchase data for the next 10 days. So again, just bear with while that loads. And let us know as well while this is loading, any questions, thoughts, etc., about how these metrics could be useful to you or what you'd like to see different. So here we've now got exactly what we ran a minute ago. So we can see that we've fallen off in terms of revenue over the last couple of days. And if we carry on as we are, that's going to pretty much plateau until month end. Now, until the 20th, we were actually in a really nice upward trend there, up to conversion type of over 1,000 purchases a day. And now we've dropped quite significantly down to 600-700 a day. And unless we change something, that's going to be the rest of the month. So here I can use this for a forecasting report to say not just how we're doing in terms of month to date, but I'm going to make an educated guess about what's going to happen by month end if we don't make any changes. So again, I'm going to use the AI highlights. I'm going to use SpotIQ. I'm going to use all these AI features available to me to find my best performing, worst performing, what I've changed. Are there any segment differences? Is it the region we're sending to? And I can start to work on it immediately. And like we saw a minute ago, I'm going to save that insight because that's really useful to me. I might even share that with my team and just ping it to, say, Jack and the guys to say, look, if we don't do something, this is where we're ending for month end. So really, really powerful stuff. That, I think, is all the key stuff to cover from live boards, answers, and SpotIQ. So yeah, if there's any questions or any queries during the session, I'll run back on in a minute and try and answer them as we go. Other than that, appreciate your time looking through that with me.
Awesome. We've got some great questions in the chat already. So we've got a couple of questions about how the data is actually put together. So our analytics platform connects directly to our Spotler ESP Mail Plus and also through to our customer data platform, Spotler Activate. What it does is it ingests things like the events, so opens, clicks, purchases directly from those platforms, and it enables you to analyze them pretty much in real time. So there's no overnight load periods or anything like that. You should see the results of your campaigns within the analytics platform as fast as our APIs can give it to it. So once your tool is set up, what we're able to do is we're able to give you not only your kind of standard email results or your standard CDP results, and those could be anything from your abandoned cart journeys, they could be from a B2B lead generation, how many purchases have come off the back of that. There is also lots of different possibilities that can come through from our platforms. It's funnily enough, Mark, you mentioned about if it hallucinates or not. That is actually a question that we've got in the chat here. So if anyone's done any work when it comes to actually using large language modules, I know that I have, especially using ChatGPT via the API. It literally makes everything up. It couldn't be any less reliable. Now, what we've done here is we train your analytics on your data. So what happens is the data that comes into it, it doesn't take anything from any outside sources. So it doesn't have the ability to hallucinate because it doesn't understand different data points outside of your data warehouse that holds that key information. So you're not going to get somebody else's results, or you're not going to get it measuring it in a way or in something that doesn't exist. And as I'm sure Mark showed you when it came to the things like the Excel parts and being able to actually see into the tables, you can create pivots, you can investigate that data, and you can find out where that data has come from. And the nice thing with it is, if, for example, you don't think that it's showing you what you should, you can just ask it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to analyze it somewhere else or export it. As Mark showed you in the platform, you can just say, oh, I actually want to look at this, or can you compare it against this? Or as Mark had a couple of times there, just came up with a null result. You can continue to ask it its questions, and the longer you use it on your data, the better it becomes.
think that's the key point about nulls is you wouldn't get that in ChatGPT. ChatGPT would hallucinate and come
Yeah,
up with something.
it would tell you. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas in the orgs, it's specific to the data you've got available. So if the data isn't there for that particular query, it will come back with a null, and then I'll make a change to it. The heat settings, the temperature settings on our analytics model as well are set right down to the bare bones of 0. So it's another nice little hack if you're using ChatGPT and it keeps faking the data. Turn your temperature settings down and it should do it far less. You'll find the default, I think, is like 70%. If it hasn't got the data or it thinks it can make an educated guess, it will do that. Analytics in Spotler won't do any of that because it's set not to.
Yeah, 100%. So we've got another couple of questions here just regarding how you would start to put different kind of live boards together. So if one of those live boards isn't what you would normally use, or you want to measure it in a different way, how would we go about putting those together, Mark?
Yeah, if we just pop it back on screen share, I can. Yeah, exactly what I've done. I was kind of hoping we'd have a question like that, actually. So our email statistics is really good for all the key metrics in terms of standard, how we perform in monthly. I tend to be a bit more interested in monthly performance and comparing it annually, so to see how we're stacking up year on year. So what I've done is make my own tiles and save them to my own monthly performance report here. So when we look at, say, attributed revenue this year versus last, I can actually see exactly how we're doing every single month and comparing it to the same time frame last year. So we can see that nice spike there into October is our attributed conversion revenue is doing really well compared to last year. Now I can drill into this. If I click show underlying data, this will literally be every single conversion event that's ever been tracked over that sort of 13 rolling month period. So if I do doubt the data, if I think there's any queries with it, I can just scrape that data straight out of the platform, download it to CSV, and double check that actually it marries up against my transactional records or what we've submitted via the API in terms of purchases. So any tile that I go into, I can edit, rename it, I can explore the data, start again with Spotter, or I can just pin it. So if I actually take that pin, I can create my own live board. So new live board and pin that to it. So I now hit that. That will now create a brand new live board for me to do exactly what I want with it. So if I close, then I can see exactly what other people have been doing, exactly the same thing as creating their own. So we can see people are making copies, using it as a starting point. We can see people are making activity reports. What we've done there is just make a simple live board with one tile on it. So from here, I can now do exactly what you'd expect to see in other BI and analytics tools, things like Looker, Looker Studio, or even Tableau. I can go in and actually start to edit this data, make my own content. Obviously, all the stuff you'd expect, like being able to use your brands, your logo, all that sort of stuff I can do. I can just go in and just change how that looks, nice and easy, and go in at any point and edit it. So for, what did I take? Activity kind for attributions. Most of it was tactical, as you'd expect. 90% of our revenue came from tactical, 11% came from automated. And then when I go into my library, my chart visualizations, I've got all these different options for how to present the data. So I can do waterfalls, funnels, literally anything you want, Pareto, stack bars, etc. And what's even better is the AI in the tool will tell me what it thinks will work and won't. So you can see here quite a few grayed out. So if I wanted a candlestick or a Sankey, because I don't have enough data points, that visual wouldn't work, so it won't let me pick them. So let's say I just want that as a simple bar instead of a pie chart, then I've got it. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing I've done before and probably just exclude nulls, hit save on that, and then we are good to go. So from there, nice easy update, and I can just add as many tiles to this as I want. So yeah, really easy to create your own content.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And just one of the dashboards that I like the most is just around the answers and being able to create your own kind of pivot style reports. Because a lot of the time when it comes to even knowing what the right questions to ask are, it's the easiest gateway to it. I know we're running out of time slightly to be able to have a look at that now, but it'd be great to see just where your data can kind of start, if that makes any sense, and being able to see those data points so clearly as well. And I think that's again one of the beauties of the tool. You mentioned before about the temperature settings being down low, but we also reveal all the data behind it. If you're using AI and other tools to do your data analysis, it's very difficult to actually find out what data points it even cares about or what it's looking at, while we try to make everything as transparent as humanly possible for you to know, for one, that the data is absolutely accurate, and to give you that confidence to use that for your attribution reporting going forward.
And yeah, if I just quickly jump back on for 1 minute, I can just kind of allude to that point about answers, because in Spotler Analytics, answers are one of the key areas of the tool. So this is where, like, say, Lee Shawner as a colleague, I know he's really, really experienced with analytics, so I love to steal his homework because it's super useful for me personally. So if I go into something that Lee created just a couple of hours ago for activity report, I might be interested in this. So you can work personally as well. So you don't, if Lee's working on something he isn't ready to share yet, you can just toggle it off so I couldn't see it. But for the fact that Lee's actually made this searchable would suggest that it was something useful in there. So what he's done, and we can drill into the actual query, is included all these different metrics in terms of attributed conversion, unsub to send rate. He's actually made a lot of custom formulas in here that aren't defaults. So when we go into the formulas, we can create our own stuff as well. And he's made a table here that probably is going to have all this useful information down to campaign level for total opens, total emails clicked, unsub to send rate. So that's quite interesting. So for something like that, if I wanted to say sort by that, and I can do this in any table, and I might want to know which of the campaigns had the worst unsub to send rate. So we can see here from these two at the top, VIP customer journey, holiday gift guide, they really, really struggled in terms of unsubscribes. So from every email we sent, we lost 1 in 10 customers for that second one. Whereas when we scroll way down to the bottom, we've got the campaigns that are far less. So the ones that aren't offending people enough to hit the unsub button. Things like birthday surprise, great, everyone's in a good mood. First purchase incentive, they've just bought, they're a really hot customer. So again, really useful information. And this answer for me, like I say, I've stolen Lee's homework there. So he doesn't know it yet, but that's now on my live board. When I next present, I'll probably use that because that's a metric I hadn't even thought about. So cheers, Lee.
Fantastic. So I know we've only got a couple of minutes left. We've got a question here just from Greg, just regarding our future roadmap. So all of the Spotler technology over the next coming time will be integrated into analytics to form a single kind of source of truth for your reporting, whether that be Spotler's CRM, whether that's attached to your CRM or not, because we've got a few B2B queries in there. So yes, absolutely, that will be linking to our CRM in the future, as well as our lead management tools and all of those kinds of things too. And regarding getting any more data, such as the session data and any relevant B2B data is, and I'm sure Mark's involved in looking at all of that right now, is definitely on the roadmap to be flowed into the tool. So watch this space. From a more e-commerce standpoint, it's ready to go. But over the coming months, we will have not only a full automated AI suite for e-commerce, but we will also have the same for B2B as well. So watch this space. There is a question here as well. Does it only work with Spotler's tech? Yes, it only works with Spotler's tech. So you do need to be using the Spotler technology in order to leverage our analytics platform. But yes, no, fantastic. Thank you for all these questions. It's great. And I know we've only got we've got 1 minute left. So we are actually, because this is a new release of the tool, we're actually offering the tool. We're going in incredibly aggressive on the price point. So if you're already using Spotler technology and you have that, and you're interested in reaching out to us about that, we'll give you the live boards. So the actual live boards, so the ones that Mark showed you right at the beginning. So the standard live boards, they're free. So you'll have access to them with your Spotler account. The Essentials board, which is the pivot table style board that Mark showed you before. So the custom live boards and the answers, we're offering that bargain basement, I guess, for £100 per month. And then we're even including the natural language for £200 a month. And for the first 50 that we get, you'll get it at half price. So when it comes to this, if you're looking at your for your the guys who clicked BI, or the guys who are looking at using Power BI or something like that, this is fraction of the cost. We're talking 1/10 of a monthly, if not fractional of some BI costs here. So if you want to have a look at this, if you don't have that purchase data, but you're in B2B and you still want to be able to get the best out of your campaign data, we can do that without the purchases as well. So if you want to reach out to us and understand a little bit more of that, that is fantastic. Put your details in the chat, or you can contact our fantastic sales team at sales@spotler.co.uk, and one of the guys will be back with you as soon as possible in order to get that sorted. But yes, we're bang on time here, so thank you so much for all of your time. And there's other questions there, and I promise I'll get back to you. So thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon.